Welcome back to Rockingham for part 2 of our coverage from the Dunlop MK2 Golf GTI Championships. We've got lots of close and exciting racing coming up for you, so let's take a look at the highlights from race 1.
So it was going to be, as ever, a very keenly contested battle in the Dunlop MK2 Golf GTI Championship. Jason Tingle taking pole position from Jamie Martin for just a tenth of a second. By the time they arrived at the Dean Hairpin for the first time, though, Martin had found his way through to the front of the pack, as the rest of them all jostled for position behind. Dan Gibbs and Josh Johnson enjoying a lively scrap in the early stage of the race as Martin tried to make good his escape at the front of the field. But Jamie Martin was going to be kept very honest by James Bark, Jason Tingle and Tom Witts. In the 8-valve class, it was also going to be a nice and tight battle between Andrew Aldridge and Simon Tomlinson. Tomlinson in pursuit of the white car of Aldridge as they accelerated towards the Dean Hairpin on the brakes. Who was going to blink first? Aldridge ran out wide. Tomlinson gained the lead of the class, a lead that he would not relinquish. Well, the real fight turned into one for second place because Jamie Martin had a sufficient buffer over James Bark, Tom Witts and Jason Tingle. Simon Tomlinson was in inspired form with that move around the outside the 16-valve car of Andrew Warnes. Tom Witts, the bright orange car, challenging James Bark. Jason Tingle also able to squeeze past James through turn 1, and that was to give the order through to the flag. So it was victory in race 1 for Jamie Martin, with Tom Witts following him through in second, almost 5 seconds back. In the class for the 8-valve runners, it was Simon Tomlinson who was victorious from Andrew Aldridge and Alex Nuttall. So look at the results. Martin victorious from Witts and Tingle. James Bark was disappointed with 4th. An excellent 6th for Simon Tomlinson.
Well, the cars are lining up and ready to go for the final race of the day for the Dunlop MK2 Golf GTI Championship. Starting on pole position, it's Jamie Martin.
Well, let's see if he can convert pole position to victory. He shares the front row with Tom Witts. Then it's Jason Tingle and James Bark on row 2 from Dan Gibbs and Simon Tomlinson. Josh Johnson completes the field just behind Brian Passmore and Stuart Lines. As we get ready for the starts here at Rockingham. Gorgeously sunny day as the red lights flash out and away we go. And it's a good start from pole from Jamie Martin. It's a brilliant start from Jason Tingle in the black car, number 65, as Martin gets squeezed down by James Bark, who jettisons his rear bumper as they head towards turn 1. All very tight, that leading group of 5 cars, very evenly matched as they head on towards the Dean Hairpin. As Dan Gibbs outbrakes himself and he pushes Tom Witts out wide. And Witts bumps and bores across the grass as well. He's going to rejoin in the middle of the pack. And in fact, there's a tanglement further back. And I think that Dan Gibbs has been involved in that. It's Josh Johnson who he has come into contact with. Out front, though, Jamie Martin leads the way from James Bark and Jason Tingle. Bark bouncing on his suspension through Chapman Curve into Piff Paff then. That leading trio breaking clear of the rest of the pack. We have another look at this. Dan Gibbs outbrakes himself. Tom Witts does much the same of his own volition. It's then really that Witts rejoins in the middle of the pack and just gets caught out by Cara Johnson spearing out wide, taking them both off into the tyre wall. Hopefully they'll recover from there. So we've got this titanic scrap going on a little bit lower down the order. At the very head of that is Andrew Aldridge, who is the foremost of the 8-valve runners. The rest of the 8-valve runners are pretty much all covered by 1 car's length as they head out of Brook and sprint past the gigantic grandstands here at Rockingham. It really is a magnificent facility. Plays host, of course, to Champ Car racing in 2001-2002 and still hosts oval racing for the Pickup Truck Championship. But its most regularly used configuration is this International Super Sports Car circuit. And the drivers in the Dunlop Mark II Golf GTI Championship relishing the challenge this weekend, as there is the 100 car of Andrew Aldridge trying to break clear of the rest of the pack, really. There is Stuart Lyons, who's coming up very nicely through the order from the very rear of the field. Lyons, who is a formidable competitor, squeezing past Tim Cox. Cox currently running second amongst the 8-valve runners, though Simon Tomlinson looking to do something about that and demoting him. Jason Tingle and James Bark almost bumper to bumper along the start and finish straight, because to get the slipstream effect from these Golfs, you need to really be right in behind the car in front. Driving as they do from the 1980s, they're not the most aerodynamic of cars compared to newer models of the Golf, but they are a firm favourite amongst the drivers. When you talk to us about, well, why have you gone Golf racing, I'll say it's, well, where I had my first kiss, it was my first car. Very evocative memories for a lot of these drivers, which is plus the fact they're great fun to drive, and therefore you've got a very healthy championship. Leading trio, they're just beginning to come together as Jamie Martin being reeled in slightly. Recovering Dan Gibbs has scythed his way through some of the 8-valve runners. Adam Hance also looking to do much the same. The order somewhat jumbled after that fairly chaotic first run through Dean. Stuart Lyons, though, now he's clear of Andrew Aldridge. Got a little bit of clear air in front of him. He's going to try and climb up through the pack as best he can. He's still got a few laps in hand to do that. Alex Nuttall in the thick of the action, looking to try and score an 8-valve podium if he can. Meanwhile, back to the front, and Jason Tingle has done a reasonably good job here of getting himself up towards the tail of Jamie Martin, and he may well in fact challenge Martin by the time they arrive into the Dean hairpin. Martin goes down low, looks to hold that inside line. Both of them bouncing on the suspension, trying to get on that throttle as early as they possibly can to sprint on towards Yentwood. Wherever you look in the pack, there are some great fights. This is Adrian Ward and Matthew Petts busy scrapping over 12th place. Back to the lead though, and Jason Tingle dives to the inside of Jamie Martin and goes through. Great manoeuvre that from Jason Tingle. Just wonder whether all is as it should be with Martin's car though, because it doesn't appear to be anything going wrong in the driving department that's seen Martin being reeled in by Jason Tingle, and now possibly James Bark as well. Martin though still looking to fight back as the leading duo arrive into Tarzan, make that leading trio, because James Bark closing in very quickly too. Along School Straight and on towards Brook. That is the next sequence awaiting the drivers. Jason Tingle from Martin, then James Bark, and Bark closing on Jamie Martin through Brook. Let's see if Martin gets the power down as nicely as he'd like coming out of Brook. He does from a driving point of view, with a big lick of flame from the rear of the car. That shouldn't happen, and Martin slows, and James Bark goes past him up into second place, and Martin pulls off the road immediately into retirement. Wretched luck for Jamie Martin. So Jason Tingle leads the way. He just needs to concern himself with the progress of James Bark now. He's got a couple of seconds over Bark. Well, here is Andrew Aldridge mixing it with the 16-valve cars. That is Robert Wheeler and Andrew Warnes either side of him, but out front in the 8-valve class, it's Simon Tomlinson, who is up challenging for outright podium positions in this race. It's been a really fine performance from Tomlinson as Martin debriefs the mechanic. Jason Tingle heads through Brook for the final time en route to the checkered flag. He has controlled this race perfectly since Martin's retirement. He allows himself to have a little bit of a weave along the start and finish straight. He wins it with James Bark in second place. Third has gone to Stuart Lyons. Great drive to the back of the field. Fourth, an 8-valve victory, Simon Tomlinson. And second in the 8-valve class is going to go to Andrew Aldridge after that race-long scrap. Saw him sandwiched by the two 16-valve cars. So a look at the final results. Victory for Jason Tingle from James Bark and Stuart Lyons. Simon Tomlinson, excellent fourth, an 8-valve victory from Dan Gibbs and Adam Hance. Tom Witts recovering to 15th position after that horrible run through Dean on the first lap.
James got a very good start. He dropped into second, unfortunately. Got past him in a couple of laps. Absolutely amazing, yeah. Got past Jamie Martin on the few laps before the end. Unfortunate for him, after I got past him he had a problem, but you know, stuff happens in this racing. So, but no, Louth Volkswagen, Volksworld Racing 1, 2, 3. So absolutely buzzing about it. So yeah, very good.
Yeah, I've had a great weekend. I've had 3 firsts, put a lot of time in, and saw boys this weekend. Phil and Russell have done really well, so I'm really pleased this weekend.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that, does it?
No, first, you're only first, and that's it. If not, you're last.
So in terms of the standings then, Jason Tingle leading the way from Jamie Martin in the 16 valves from James Bark and Dan Gibbs. Well, a good weekend. Rockingham gives Simon Tomlinson the advantage amongst the 8 valve runners, Andrew Aldridge and Alex Nuttall.
Well, some very happy drivers there to finish the weekend of racing here at Rockingham. Do make sure you join us next time when the Dunlop VAG Trophy and the Dunlop Mark II Golf GTI Championship will be heading to Cadwell Park. Until then, it's bye for now.